Welcome to the Magic Makers podcast. I'm your host, Jason DeRocha, Vice President of Sportball. Today, my guests are our franchisees out in Austin, Texas, friends and colleagues. Thank you so much for joining me today on Magic Makers podcast.
Happy to be here.
Very happy to be here.
Cool. All right. Well, let's start by just finding out, how did you hear about Sportball?
The year was 2004, and the method was Craigslist.
Wow. Is Craigslist even around anymore?
That's a good question.
Maybe not. I was the first coach hired in Austin. In 2004, and then we were dating at the time.
So you didn't meet at Sportball? This wasn't a Sportball romance?
No, this was not a Sportball romance. We were dating at the time, and I told my then boyfriend, I got this job. It's so great. I get to play with kids. This is so much fun. And instead of being happy for me, he said, that sounds like the perfect job for me.
What were you doing at the time, Mica?
Okay.
At the time, I was working at the YMCA, leading after-school sites out in Maynard, Texas, and dabbling a little in school as well. But ultimately, my goal, the only thing I knew for sure was that, man, I want to work for myself. I want to own my own business. And I had a natural ability with kids. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I unfortunately put my foot in my mouth right off the bat, statement, and realized, it was also a really good fit for her.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's a really great fit for us for the past 20 years.
So you both started at Sportball as coaches, 2004. And then, within a week. And then we'll talk about that journey from becoming coaches, working at Sportball, to obviously then becoming franchisees down the road.
Sure.
It was a long journey. Came on through previous ownership of Mark Spillman, and he mentored us, taught us the ropes and everything that Sportball was really about. We fell in love with it early on, but he was a very detailed and methodical individual, as you know, and really made sure that we were the right fit, that we had everything down pat. And so it was a lot of years of learning under him, to the point where he eventually trusted us, and we started going out and helping him get more locations.
So you learned coach first, and then you started to learn the other aspects of the business,
which I think was really helpful for us.
I was a PE teacher and athletic director for a private school, and then I decided I also wanted to get my master's degree.
I see.
So I would come in and I would do part-time coaching.
So she was still very much involved, mm-hmm. And it's Sportball is such a great opportunity we have a lot of coaches that we worked with 10, 15 years ago that sometimes it works out for both of us, mutually beneficial, and they come back and find that love of coaching and connecting with kids that's just so rewarding and such a blessing in what we do.
Yeah.
So when Alyssa, when you left to go do your master's, you always had a sense that you were going to come back to Sportball and have a bigger role. Is that fair to say?
That is too funny. The manager at the time, when I was maybe like turning in my equipment, she said, don't give me back your jersey because I know you will be back.
Oh, wow.
I can feel it in my bones. You will be back. She even said, you will be running this. And that was before the time we had actually had the conversation of us potentially buying the business. But Sportball was just such a huge part of my life and of my journey that I wanted to believe every word of that because I wanted to be back.
So how did that transition occur from coach to owner?
That's a great question. It was a bit of a process.
It was, I think we had to wrap our mind around it as well, because it obviously entails a lot more of the back end and kind of more of a bird's eye view of everything. But we had been in it so long, and again, it was my dream to own my own business and work for myself early on, step by step. We figured it out. You learn from your mistakes, and we just essentially created small pieces that just added to the efficiency of the business, what made sense, and made sense for the customers and the kids as well.
So talk a little bit about like the footprint you have built in Austin, Texas now, because since you took over, what was it, 2012 as owners officially? Is that fair? So 2012 till 2026, you have grown exponentially. So talk a little bit about your team, some of the partnerships you have, and the footprint that you have in Austin.
Span at least 50 miles from all over Austin. We've got programs in every corner of Austin and the surrounding areas.
We've always taken a lot of pride in what we do and realized how special it is. You know, we're often these kids' first coach and their first introduction to sports. So we try to really find people and staff coaches that share that mentality. It's easy to see the difference and the people that want to be there and that really truly get joy out of it, and the people that are there for other reasons.
Right. So how do you ensure that, Mica? Like, obviously you have coaches that are leading the programs for you now. You and Alyssa are probably less in the field. What do you put into training your coaches and preparing your coaches so that when they deliver that premium experience, you can tell that if I'm a parent or if I'm a teacher on the sideline, wow, that coach really wants to be here and that they care?
I think it takes a lot of hand-holding early on and really getting to know that person, being there in programs myself, side by side, having them learn from me or our managers that have earned our trust and that we know, share the same passion and will take it serious. Because it's one thing to be out there and to teach the kids and to, fine tune your own process, but to be able to teach others to do it in the right way, and pay attention to all the right things, it's something that you really have to experience a lot and practice a lot to get good at. We hold social events to build that rapport and the camaraderie and the team, so they know they can rely on each other and they know they get along.
And rely on us. And then corporate has also built out these amazing tools like Acorn, where our coaches can actually learn so much at home.
Right. And that's
which is really valuable.
It's filled in a lot of gaps for us to make our life easier and to give them the tools that they need, as just extra reference points and material and support that we can offer them.
Yeah, like the lesson plans, the workshops, the videos of a skill demonstration. I think you're absolutely right, because you obviously you can't be at all places at all time, and ultimately the entire Sportball experience can come from one singular coach, right? They may have never even met you or Mike or Alyssa or somebody in your admin office. Like, this coach is the entire Sportball experience, so making sure that they're equipped with all the tools that they need to deliver well is so important. What are some of the challenges that you faced as operators in your business? Like, what are some of the bigger pain points, and then how do you overcome those pain points?
This business being what it is, it's got a lot of moving parts and a lot, to keep track of. So, that can be a challenge, but the fact that systems are now in place to really make that a lot easier and just consistent to where you don't have to think about it so much. We used to think about we wanted to film each other doing just about every sport, every activity.
We would do it.
Every class for every age. And we started to try to put it together and even send it out to coaches. But it's just such a monumental task, when you're running your own business.
Absolutely.
You guys offer that support now.
Really. That's our job as a franchisor, to really make sure that we provide all the tools so that you can do what you love to do. You have all the tools, the resources, the playbooks to deliver this incredible program to make a difference in kids' lives.
One of the challenges that we have not come across is just lack of demand. I mean,
right.
I feel like just trying to keep up is the main challenge and the main goal, which is a good problem to have.
And so can you talk a little bit more about that in terms of the demand? So who are your program partners in the community?
Sure, absolutely. So we are ending our spring season now, and we're getting ready to start our summer season. We have the first week of summer, I think we have one camp where we just partner with a preschool. They're running their own camp, and they needed to give their teachers a break. So we are the only program that they trust enough to allow us to come in and fully run their preschool camp. So we're doing that, and they've got about 40 to 50 kids. And then West Austin Youth Association is another one of our great partners here in Austin. And we're running a camp for them that first week of summer, and they've got about 60 to 70 kids.
Which is more of it's a recreation center. So anybody can attend those types of programs, open to the public, which is really nice. And then We can serve the privatized, the preschools that want just to keep it a tight knit group, which makes sense when all the kids go together and attend the same school coming in. So being able to serve both sides, and then also offer special events and birthday parties, and be like a third party option even for other summer camps that are running their own programs, and be like, you know what? Our counselors need some help. We're going to have like a sport theme. Let's bring in sport ball.
Right. So for like the YMCA, Extended Care, the city of Round Rock, the city of Leander, we're kind of running those like special events for them. And then other private schools and preschools throughout the city. We've
earned a lot of goodwill and trust, and then we've gained a large network of directors that change jobs and go to new schools and know the benefit that we can bring in for their school and reach out to us. So that's where the demand comes in, and it's hard to keep up.
Yeah. One of the things I think that we're starting to see in youth sports is there's a lot of competition. There's lots of other organizations opening up. So how do you feel right now in Austin? I'm sure in 2004 versus 2013, that was a big difference.
I think it's great. I don't know if it's competition necessarily. Like some people really want to play just soccer or just basketball, right? But having this multi-sport option is this gold mine because we get to introduce kids to a bunch of different sports. Like throughout a week of camp, like they get to see 8 different sports. And a lot of times when they're a bit older, we get to really dig into the sports. So they get to feel, I really like this. I don't really like this. And some of the competition is really just a lot of league sports, which is great because oftentimes we're actually preparing kids for league sports. So we can almost partner with them rather than being a competition.
Okay. So you can kind of coexist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then as far as the other multi-sport competitors that work with the young ages that we work with, there's a few out there, but honestly, it's they see the success that Sportball has had with it, and I think the business model is attractive to them. But ultimately, it takes a lot of time and effort and practice and experience to be out there and really fine tune all the processes. Right. Luckily, we've gone through, and you guys have helped us to do so. So it's. I feel like they can't really touch us too much.
The football methodology is so unique, and it's been developed over the past 30 years with so much science back to it that there's nothing else really like it.
Right.
I feel it.
So there's not like an apples to apples comparison or competition.
So, if there's somebody that's thinking about a sport ball franchise and opening their own sport ball franchise, what are some of the things that you would tell them they should consider before investing in a business like sport ball?
I would say be prepared to really pour your heart and your soul into this business. This business is different than like owning a laundromat where you go and you collect coins and you manage some machines. This business is truly changing the lives of young children, or it should be if you're doing it right.
Just making sure that you are really a people person, that you enjoy creating those connections. And
you got to live it. Yeah, this is not the kind of business where you can just phone it in. Like you have to make sure that your present attitude is contagious. Leadership is really dependent upon, it's like attitude reflects leadership, right? So if you're a great leader, it's going to impact your coaches. The coaches are going to impact the children and the families and the program partner. Yeah, both very good points. Now, I can't help but ask this question. My wife and I struggle to come to an agreement on what we want to have for dinner. So you are running a big business together in Austin for so many years. What's the secret of keeping the peace and building a business that allows both of you to have beautiful smiles on your faces?
Just like everything else in this business, we have figured out our roles and the secret sauce. And that involves having our own roles, focusing on our own things, because we're both chiefs. We both like people. We both are very passionate about what we do. And we learned early on when coaching together, we would sometimes butt heads with the kids, and the kids were like, what the heck? So we've worked through a lot of that, and I trust her completely. I know she's, going to handle any situation that comes her way and do it exceptionally well. So that's a good place to be in with a partner. So out of the, you work it out, and it's not going to be the same for everybody, but you can always help each other out and fill in gaps.
Oh yeah.
So what's the vision? I mean, congratulations. You just picked up San Antonio East after building a wonderful franchise in Austin. You continue to build Austin, but you've also picked up San Antonio East. So what's the vision now?
I just think continue just building the empire.
That is big. What is that? What does that include?
I mean, the empire would include all of Austin, as many preschools, as many programs that will allow us to bring them the Sportball Magic, and as much of San Antonio as we can bring in. And
at the same time, create our core staff in San Antonio to just repeat the same process, especially all the lessons that we've learned in our beginning years. We feel like we can take off at sprinter speed, and it's already coming together quite naturally and organically.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to come on this podcast, and can't wait to see what you guys do in San Antonio East. All right, let's talk again soon.